All right, welcome everyone to Stammer AI Agency Office Hours. We've got a pretty quick, pretty quick meeting. Not too many updates to share this week, so we'll definitely be going over some more Q&A. If anybody has any questions or comments, concerns, we'll go over that. Hello, Roberto from San Antonio. Thanks for joining. We always like to start out these meetings by going over just some general housekeeping and making sure everyone is aware of all of our support options, which are some of the most important things that we like to mention on all of these calls. Of course, you can reach all of our support options at stammerai/support. This will have all of our links to tutorials, documentation, how to submit support tickets, and of course, join our daily calls, our daily support calls, which are right after this at 11:30 a.m. PST. And then, of course, we have our roadmap at roadmap.stammer.ai. And this is important because this is where all of the latest improvements, changes, and updates to the platform are at. Hey, Lucas. Hey, Tim. Ooh, sunny Spain. That sounds great. We've also added some of these things inside of the Stammer dashboard as well. So in the top right-hand corner, we have the little rocket icon here, and you can click that and you can see all of the latest updates and changes, and the support tab, which will now show all of the support options as well. Both of these things are for agency eyes only. So not to worry when you have your white label version of the platform, nothing of Stammer will be shown or none of our support options will be shown. It's all going to be focused directly on your white label opportunities. So that being said, last week we had some general improvements and fixes for the platform that people have been asking for and reporting. And we went over that last week. So I'm not going to go over too much of it again this week, just some general improvements and things, and also updates to our voice platform. We ran into a couple of snags. We mentioned this last week with our concurrency limits. So we're in development working that out. We have a couple agencies that are rather large and have very large clients that have upwards of hundreds of thousands of minutes of usage for phone calls. So we're trying to make sure that our platform can support all of the clients that you guys have, from a small dentist office to replacing an entire call center, and be able to run that entirely on the platform with no issues. Another thing that we mentioned last week, and I believe Tim, you called this out, so thank you for doing that, was one of the newest features that we've implemented that has become quickly one of the most popular, which is our alternative model backups. So I want to shout this one out again because this is definitely a great feature, especially if you're not aware of it. So when you create an AI agent and you go into the settings tab, you have the ability to select your primary AI model from the drop down here, and this will show you all of the different options, all the different GPTs and Claude and Grok models that we have currently available. And we also have the alternative in the backup, which essentially allows you to set a alternative model. So not one of the ones that is set in the primary, but an alternative one. And the reason for this is OpenAI tends to have issues or go down quite often, as it would seem in the last few weeks or months, however, whatever time frame you kind of want to go after. But if OpenAI goes down, so many apps across the internet and many other chatbot platforms just stop working essentially because everyone's using the same API. Well, we started getting a lot of feedback from that from our agencies, and so we decided to build and add this alternative model solution, which our system will automatically detect when OpenAI is having issues or when OpenAI goes down, and it will automatically transfer over to the backup model that you've selected over here. And so this ensures that the AI agents and chatbots and everything is going to continuously work even if OpenAI goes down, which has, from the feedback that we've been getting, is a great way to differentiate you and your agency beyond some of the other generic chatbot platforms out there. We experienced this last week. We've had a couple other clients email us and ask about that. So that's definitely something to keep in mind when you're working with new clients and closing deals. This is one of those ways that you can differentiate your offer against other agencies or other like I said other chatbot platforms out there. That being said, for everyone else that's watching on YouTube, of course you can add your own API key for all of these different models, and we are still looking into adding other alternative models like Gemini, of course, and updating with the latest Claude models, the latest Grok models, and then what was the other one? Mistral as well. We've been looking into that. So yeah, we're kind of continuously looking to improve and expand this functionality as this is the core of the platform and makes makes it work really well. And yeah, and then to be able to do that, just to reiterate, if you go into agency into the vault, this is where you can add your own API keys and everything will work off of your API key rather than being charged by our platform for usage. OpenAI or Claude or Grok will just charge you directly for that usage. Roberto asks, what models are the recommended for primary and alternative models? So right here, we put the recommendation for the primary to be GPT-4o for the 1120. So that would be, what is it? This one right here. So this one is a good way to kind of get things started. It's the nice medium between functionality and cheap cost at only on average 1 cent per message. That being said, the other models here for 4.1 are newer. However, from OpenAI, they tell us that these models are more geared towards things like coding and more, they're less for like creative talk, so to speak. So while they do still work great, some of the agencies that we've got feedback from have said that, these work really great for other specific use cases. And some of those use cases might be something like in MasterChat, which you could create an agent that is trained to generate HTML code or something like that. And that would be a good model to choose for 4.1. For the alternative models, it's really up to you. I would probably go with the 3.7 Sonnet, which is Claude's best model at the cheapest price. Their Opus model is insanely expensive, but Grok is also a good model as well. Both of these alternatives are good for general purpose and kind of covers the basis of most use cases. So if I was doing this, I would probably choose 3.7 Sonnet just to be safe. And then if I didn't want to use Claude, I would just use the Grok 2 model there. So that's that. There might be some other things that you see in here. So for example, this knowledge-based system prompt, this is not something that everyone can see yet. We're testing this out internally as an update for a couple users, or a couple more advanced users. So disregard this for right now. But if you're interested in customizing and you know how to work this type of functionality, then definitely send us a message and we can get that enabled for your account. Other than that, like I said, we're working on our voice and concurrency limits, so we should have updates as soon as we get progress on that. But other than that, I'll just kind of open it up to general questions and answers for today. If anybody has any other questions. Oh, and then Tim, thanks for joining today. I believe if we haven't already, we're going to send you a message for the VAT stuff. We want to get your feedback on that, if possible, at some point, just to see kind of how you are familiar with dealing with all of that. But yeah, if anybody has any other questions, comments, concerns, Roberto says, I'm getting my first meeting with leads, and of course, questions are arising. Yep. Is there any specific questions or anything that you don't feel like you're able to answer yet? Maybe we could provide some clarity. CRM integration. Yeah. So there's basically kind of two ways to think about the CRM integration part. Most of our documentation and examples stem from how do we integrate an AI agent into a chat conversation that is already integrated in a CRM platform. So, for example, let's say a client has an SMS sequence or their Instagram or Facebook is already connected into a CRM, and the CRM has the ability to send messages to and from a user. What we can do on our end is use the white label API to connect directly to that CRM to do many different things. And so once you connect your custom domain, all of these endpoints for this white label API will be customized to you and your brand, which is pretty cool. So basically what this will allow you to do, and there's a lot of different options here, but the main one that most people will use is sending a message to an AI agent. So in a workflow inside of a CRM, there could be an incoming message from a user, let's say an SMS message, or if we're doing a type of like a reactivation campaign, the CRM would send the first message. And then if the user was to respond to that message, we can then use this white label API endpoint to take that user's message and then send it to this AI agent that is built and created inside the platform here. And we would paste in a couple different things, but one of the main things being this chatbot UUID or this agent UUID. And this will basically tell the CRM, hey, we're going to take this user's message, we're going to send it to the AI agent. The AI agent is going to see it just like a normal message, like if I typed in something here, and then it's going to generate a response, and then it's going to send that response back to the CRM using this white label API, and then you can then take that message and send it back to the user. And that can happen in a recurring workflow where user sends a message, and then that message is sent to the agent, and then back and forth, back and forth. Difference between Stammer to Como CRM and from Como CRM to Stammer through API, which is better in order to create a whole workflow. So most of the workflow is going to be done inside of the CRM. And I can pull up a quick example of one that we built in a different CRM, but it should feel and act very similar. Most of the workflow builders and platforms they work generally the same, or at least they look generally the same. And of course, we can help get that working for you as well. So here's an example of that where inside of the CRM we're creating a workflow. And the way that this workflow is triggered is a customer has sent a message via SMS or the customer has replied to an SMS. And then we're going to be taking that message and then we're sending it to the white label API that we looked at over here. And so there's like 4 or 5 things that you copy and paste in, but it's all essentially just copying and pasting. We're taking this URL and we're pasting it in here. We're getting our authentication and API token, and we're pasting that in here. And then the chatbot UUID that I mentioned earlier, we're pasting that in here. And then we're taking the message, and this will be probably different for your CRM, but it might and should look very similar, where this is the message that the user has sent that we're then sending to the AI agent. And then once that AI agent has created a response, we can then take that response and send it back into the platform where it then shows a dynamic answer to that user. So the main thing is like figuring out how your CRM will work within that scenario. And then that will allow you to figure out exactly how to basically replicate this. We have a couple different options here in our documentation where you can look and follow along. Let me see, let me pull it up. Where is it? White label API. Yeah, so this will show you a couple different options, and I believe we also have the one that I am showing here. So this, and I'll put this link in the chat. This one has the ability, this one will show you exactly like how to copy and paste everything over step by step. And it should look very similar to this in terms of being able to set up this part. And I know it might look confusing, but once you get the right pieces in place, it will work pretty flawlessly. So there's that. So two, one of the meetings is with an insurance agent. Any recommendations? Yeah, so insurance agents are very similar to other companies like real estate agents, for example. Hey, Sophie, thanks for joining. So the a good example or a way to kind of sell to a real estate agent could be where they are getting a lot of leads in as a business. So, for example, real estate agents, insurance agents, they're either looking to get more leads or they're going to be running ads to get more leads. And one of the ways that these insurance and real estate people kind of drop the ball is they're all generally very lazy. So they don't want to do the follow-up process that would typically qualify a user. But that's exactly where these AI agents can be plugged in and are a really good opportunity to create a more holistic offer for these types of clients. So for example, you could run an ad that has a lead opt-in form that's going to collect the user's name, email, phone number, for example. And then that information could again be pulled into a CRM platform. And then the platform could then send out a first message that says, hey, Roberto, I saw that you just opted in for an ad to learn more about life insurance, for example. And if and that message can be sent basically instantaneously depending on wherever the user is or the time zone. And we all know that the general concepts here is speed to lead. If we can engage with that user very quickly, they're less likely to then maybe Google, insurance agents near me or something like that. So the offer basically to the agent is like, hey, we're not only going to generate leads for you, but we're going to have our AI agents go and qualify those users for you. And so the agent could then basically go and send a message and ask the person who just opted in things like, do you already have a policy? Are you willing to, or are you trying to start a new policy right now? Or do you have dependents or a family? These are all questions that will help the insurance agent qualify users from people that are maybe time wasters versus real, like legitimate leads. And the way that this can be super helpful to an insurance agent as well as real estate and many other people in these types of industries is they could be running ads and then they wake up in the morning with a summary that says, hey, so and so just opted in for an ad. They answered all the questions that the AI agent asked them. Here's a summary of their conversation. They are a hot lead. They are ready to buy. And that's a really good way to expand your offer beyond just here's an AI chatbot for a website. We're engaging the businesses and the leads that they're already generating. If not, then you can kind of tack on lead generation as an add-on there. And that's been one of the most successful, specifically in the real estate industry. That has been one of the most successful use cases that agencies have used our platform for, and a lot of them are using Go High Level to do that because of the ad integration that GHL has. But typically, most CRM platforms will also allow for that to work. And then scrolling back up, I just want to make sure I didn't miss Tim's message. I enabled the VAT, and it seems to pull through OK to Stripe. The agency payment notification still needs to be updated to show the receipts inclusive of the VAT amount. Okay. Yeah, and I believe, okay, yeah, Tim, you already said, yeah, we're gonna email you, Tim, and we'll talk further about that. Roberto, number three, another lead wants to explore possibilities of using AI agents to create an RFP for his clients. RFP?
Yeah, it's a request for proposal.
Oh,
And yes, in
okay.
theory, it's certainly possible. There would
Yes.
need to be some integration work done, and you need to know exactly how those are generated and get more details.
Yeah, so the use case for that would be step one is going to be customizing the prompt of the agent to instruct it to say, hey, your entire job in life is to generate these RFP documents. And you could provide guides and information about how to correctly create those RFPs. And then the way that you could deploy or sell it is through what we call master chat, which is basically a white labeled version of a chat GPT style like interface. And this is mostly used for internal purposes, which I believe this would be more useful for, where the RFP AI agent could be in the drop down here, and the end user or customer could add in images or information or documentation about what they want in that RFP. And then because the agent itself has been trained and instructed to only create these RFP documents, then it would generate that inside of the master chat interface. Excellent. Thanks. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for your questions. Appreciate you joining. Cool. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Yes, sorry. Hi. I have a
Hey,
question.
yeah, please.
I just got off my onboarding with Drew. He's a genius. He fixed my whole our whole GHL automation disaster. So thank you
Fantastic.
for
Awesome. Great to hear.
that. But I didn't get to ask my other questions, but that's okay because he stayed on way longer than he had to. Okay. My question is, I know I asked Stammer bot, but I don't think it's a feature right now, but I'm asking if it's going to be a feature. I created two like chat bots, and then I was wondering if there's going to be a feature in the future where it's like if the chatbot sends a message and the user's like that's wrong, like click on it and be like send feedback or something, because I know some bots have that feature. I just used a Google form
Mhm.
as a on an aside, but I was just wondering if that was a possibility.
Yeah, so on the front end for the end user, that's
Mhm.
not current functionality, but
Right.
that's definitely something that is a highly voted thing in our
Oh, sick.
roadmap here,
Okay.
somewhere, upvote, downvote.
Oh, nice.
But that being said, we do have
Yeah.
the ability to do the train better response, which most people will utilize.
Right. Right.
For the end user, were you thinking of like thumbs up, thumbs down, and then if it's a thumbs down, then they could write in something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we just created a couple different agents for like local electricians that are specifically trained on like code and permits and stuff like
Mm,
that are specific to our region. So we're not electricians, so we want to know if it's like giving bad information to them. Like I don't know if the answer is right or not, but they would. So
got it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Tim, that I mean, we were literally talking about that specific one yesterday, so that could be a good sign for new people that are looking for that feature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. It's just a very niche. But I just did a workaround and been like, do you have any feedback? And then it sends them to a Google form. So
Yeah, we just need to know. I mean, when someone upvotes a question or downvotes a question,
Mhm.
what happens then?
So I'm thinking what we could do is we could have a section in the QA side that would mimic the training better response that is like for approval.
Mm.
But how
Yeah,
is the user going to know the answer if they're asking the question? I think we just have to notify or show a list of conversations where one response has been indicate agency user to come in and review those.
That's kind of, yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was thinking for here. Those could be just like QAs that are not trained yet.
yeah.
Okay. Well, Sophie, I'll hit you back
No
and
rush.
we can get your feedback on that feature and then that will help us develop it correctly.
Cool. Do you want me to like show you the specific use case or no?
Well, for the sake of time, not on this
No.
call, but send me a message or we can hop on a call later and I'll be happy to look at that.
Okay, cool.
Roberta says, one last one, internal. I was trying to link my Stripe account, but I made a mistake. I have an email with Stripe in the process inside Stammer. I used another one. Now I can't delete the email. Okay. Send us your agency email that you used to sign up for Stammer, Roberto, and then we'll clear that on our end, and then you should be able to re-log in. Cool. Any other things on your end, Sophie?
Yeah, but they're kind of complicated, so I can ask them. There's another call coming up right now, right?
Yeah, we're about to hop on to the support call, which will be a great option for that.
All right, you guys are gonna get sick of me.
No worries.
Cool.
Um,
Okay. Is there, oh, that this the link is on that support page?
yep.
Okay. Sweet.
Cool. Let me just make a note of Roberto, your email. Drew, I'm gonna drop it into product here.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. Cool. Alrighty. Well, I think that will do it for today. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Amazing.